Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million. What color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo!
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Blog Talk Radio.
Love Her With a Feeling. This is Off the Chain. I am your host, Yvonne Mason. And To even say I'm on tonight, well, that's an understatement. It's been that kind of insane day. But we're here, and life is good. Didn't get to run my numbers until I got home this afternoon, and then my other computer decided that it was going to have a brain fart, so I've been fighting with that. Plus, the show didn't want to start up right, but, you know, it happens with live radio. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are 2,302 listeners away from 100,000 listens worldwide. We are at 97,698 listeners. That's all the podcasts plus the show. The show is sitting at 78,668 listens in over 70 countries. And our biggest listening audience just on the show is Australia, and that's where the Teskey brothers are from. And they sound like they should be on the corner of Bourbon Street and the Big Easy, because they are like Eric Clapton, Johnny Lang, B.B. King, Robert Johnson, all the great blues wrapped into one nice, steamy, hot, handsome package. And so the song that I played tonight fits very well with my guest, who I absolutely adore. She's one of the most amazing women I've ever had the pleasure and honor of calling a friend. She's totally insane, just like I am, which makes it all the more better. And she writes hot, steamy, sexy romance with hot, steamy, sexy men. Her name is Maggie Adams, and she is an Amazon best-selling romance author. Her first book in the Tempered Still series, Whistling Dixie, debuted in Amazon's Top 100 for Women's Fiction Humor on November 2014. Since then, Maggie has consistently made the Amazon bestseller 5-star list with her Tempered Still series. Her series has launched the tiny town of Grafton, Illinois, into international recognition with sales in Mexico, Ireland, Scotland, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Australia, and the UK. She also writes erotica, the Lustful Trilogy, paranormal romance, the Leather series. Now, see, to me that sounds like erotica, but anyway, young adult romance, hot Mess Sisterhood, which is what I am tonight, and women's fiction, Minx. So look for these next year. Hey, honey, how are you?
Hi, doll. I am so good. It's so good to hear your voice again. It's been a while.
It has. It's been too long, way, way too long.
I know. I miss your hugs.
Well, I miss yours. Are you coming in June?
I am. I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Well, I'm going to be there. In fact, that's where I was today. I was up in Cocoa at the International Palms because we are getting ready to have an event there in February. My husband is a JCI senator, and if you know what the JCs are, the senators are, after they age out of JCs, if they're good, behave themselves, or do something marvelous, they get to become a senator. And my husband helped found the Florida Senators. So in February, we're going to have a meeting there. But what's going to happen, and the reason I had to go up there, is we are going to have a fashion show. But this is right up your alley. It is a drag queen fashion show.
Oh, I love it.
All of our men, and we've done this before, and it was such a hit, we're going to do it again, and all the money that we make is going towards our scholarship foundation, to a named scholarship for a friend of mine who died several years ago, to the Doug White scholarship. And so we had to go up there and see where we could, you know, the room, and I told them what I needed, and just get a lay of the land, because they put us at a different place. And the whole time I'm thinking Maggie would see a story in this.
You never know. I may just pick your brain after the event and set something up.
Oh, honey, you would absolutely. We're going to have 6 categories this year. We're going to have business attire, sportswear, lingerie, formal, international, and wedding.
Oh.
And we're opening it to all of the people in the hotel, guests, employees alike, as well as our senators.
Oh my goodness, that is going to be a riot.
So for $10 you can be entertained. Plus, we're going to have a cash bar and horse ovaries. So for $10 you can be entertained and buy your booze and some hors d'oeuvres and have a fun 4 hours in one night.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. That is a really good way to make, money and have fun and just do it all for for your charitable organization. I think it's wonderful.
Well, yeah, no, the best part yet, the event coordinator. There's two of them, male and a female. Well, the male's going to today he volunteered to be one of our models.
Oh my goodness!
It's going to be a hoot, and I'm going to MC it, so it's going to be fun. Absolutely. What a great idea. Oh, my goodness. So we don't have a whole lot of that in the Midwest. Well, you need to have it. Well, at least not that I know of. Well, I don't know what they're doing in the cornfield, but you need to start it, because I'm going to tell you what, you would absolutely love it. It would be such a hoot to put this on. But enough about our drag queen review. Of course, the men don't say no to me. They know better. I'll just hack something else. There you go. So let's talk about you, Miss Maggie. That's one of my favorite names. I always wanted to name one of my daughters Maggie May, the Rod Stewart song. Oh, yes. That's what I got called most of the time growing up, Maggie May. That was my nickname. It's a beautiful name. So let's talk about growing up. How did you get here? How did you get from little Maggie May to big Lustful Trilogy, the Leather series? Okay, not to be a kind of a downer, but my childhood wasn't all that great. My mother was a suicidal epileptic, and my father at one point weighed over 700 pounds. And I had two younger brothers, and so we kind of just sort of took care of each other. But when I could escape and have a little time to myself, I went to the library, and I was allowed to go to the library because our little small town library was upstairs from the police station. There you go. They figured I was safe. But I always loved to read. I would escape, and I always wanted to, continue the stories if I really liked them. I wanted to know what else happened. And back then, you didn't have a whole lot of series going on. They were mostly standalones. But the librarian introduced me, I guess, to my very first romance novel when I was, 13 or 14. And it was Kathleen Woodiwiss, and it was The Flame and the Flower. And I read that, and I was hooked. Because I loved history and the historical romance portion of it and everything, and it was beautifully written, and so I would just go there and escape for just a little bit, and then go back home and then think about it and write more endings to it. What other adventures did they have, or what other things happened, or whatever. So I was always writing, but I guess, you kind of put it aside because life takes over. And I did finish at college. I did get a degree in creative writing, and I thought, I'll be a journalist. Well, I'm not really good at it because I don't like to cover really bad things, and I really don't like to talk to people about, in their face kinds of things. I'll talk to them about interesting, fun stuff. So journalism wasn't exactly for me. I couldn't quite do that tough stuff. But I had a family, and I wanted to stay home with the family, so I started a daycare. We lived across the street from the school. So I did that, and while the kids were taking a nap, I would continue to read my romance novels, and
finish endings in my head or whatever, and then sometimes I get angry and think, well, I can do better than that. And my husband said, well, give it a shot. Why don't you? So I did, and that's how the Tempered Steel series was born. It actually came about from an actual event that happened in 1993. The Mississippi River, we're near the Mississippi, near St. Louis, Missouri. It overflowed its banks, and what the old school would call the 100-year flood, but it was devastating to a lot of folks all the way down, all the way down to New Orleans. And one of them was my hometown, which was Grafton, Illinois. And we had just moved, my husband and I and our children had just moved, funny enough, to a place called Highland, Illinois, right before the river overflowed. So when it was all said and done, my family was still there. So they would tell me the stories of what they had to do after the flood and during the flood and how they got about getting just your basics, groceries and things like that, because they had one small road that could get them up and around the bluffs, and everything else was flooded. And when I say flooded, I don't mean flooded like, you got a couple of feet of water it was 30 feet over flood stage.
Oh, my goodness.
It was literally on rooftops. And, but we're, if you live on the river, you're a determined, stubborn bunch. So the community was determined to rebuild. And I thought, what a wonderful story to watch them and to help out and to get all this down on paper. And being the romantic that I am, I had to add some romance to it, And so I did, and that's how Whistling Dixie was born. And then I sent it off, thinking my best Harlequin query letters were perfect, and I got 177 rejections.
I understand that. I could wallpaper my house with the rejections I got. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was, and they were very kind, and they weren't just form letters. Some of them were, but some people actually said, we just don't know where to put you, because there was a formula for it. And I wasn't going by formula. I have romance in there, but I have comedy, and I have suspense, and I wrote life. I wrote some of the things were happening, and then took it from there. So I kind of put it away, and at that time, I put my little typewriter that had a floppy disk memory with it, and put that, after I printed it all out in a great big 5-inch binder. There were 4 stories, one for each of the brothers, and there were 7 brothers. I did one story, and then I combined 2 and 2 of the brothers, sort of an interchangeable story. Well, put it up, raised the kids, and when my son, I guess, was a senior or so in high school, he's like, Mom, you need to get that out. We've learned about self-publishing and all the new things on the internet. You need to do it. Well, I didn't really think too much about it until I was spring cleaning, and the binder literally fell on my head. It was up in the closet, and it really hurt because there was a lot of pages.
Well, but that was a sign, right? That was a sign from the characters saying, hey, dumbass, if you can't listen to your son, we're going to get your attention.
That's it, exactly. I thought, well, apparently, because it had sat up there for, I wrote it in 95, and it was 2005. And,
10 years.
Yeah, and it sat there. And so not only did I get, clobbered, I got dusty clobbered. So I said, okay, show me how to do this internet thing. So, and I don't really use Facebook or any of those things, just to catch up with my nieces and nephews. Now, to back up just a bit, I started with the story of 7 brothers, because my husband comes from a family of 10, and there are 7 brothers. and I took one good trait and one bad trait from each of them, and I put that into the character. Yeah, in the books. Well, now we still, all this time later, they're still fighting over who they think they are, and I won't tell them. But anyway, so I got it all, got it down, dusted off, and had to update quite a bit because now, cell phones and all of that were prevalent, and a computer and internet and everything going on. So once I got all that done, I actually had to retype it back into the new computer because computers didn't have floppy disk anymore that I had saved it all on. So I literally did it all over again. And when I got the first one finished, I had to figure out what to do about a graphic design, person for cover design and that sort of thing. I didn't really know how to do it, but I talked to my sister-in-law who happened to know a girl that she went to school with, was doing it, and she would ask her. Well, it turned out to be Kim Killian of the Killian Group. And so she does a lot of book covers and formatting and all. She's one of the top people. Her group is in the country that does all this, and she's done bestsellers and everything. And so I was really honored that she thought enough of my book to give me a chance, because she said, I have to read it first, and then I'll let you know. So she did, and then that's how Whistling Dixie was born, and she asked about the photo, and she said, do you want a stock photo or what do you want? And I'm like, well, I have this photo of my daughter's engagement, which really fits. And she said, send it to me. So I did, and she said, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect, because my daughter's 5'2", and her husband is 6'4", so she's standing on an old artillery box, an old little box that held bullets, and got her cowboy boots on, and she's giving him what for in the picture, it looks like, and that was how Whistling Dixie was born. And then when she edited it, we talked about the other books that I had done, or that I was going to do, and she said, don't limit yourself. Why just do 4? Do 1 for each brother.
Wow.
So that's what I did. Yeah, so I just expanded on it, and after the first one, I really didn't do any, I guess I just hit it at the right time, I suppose, because I didn't really know anything about marketing or any of that business, or really even a lot of social media. But it did well. Like you said, it hit. It debuted at number 83, and then got all the way down to, I think, 61 on the first week in Amazon. And all I did was I put it out there, and I put it on Facebook that I'd written a book, and I sent them. I had the little link there, and if you'd like to read it, here it is. And then I had the book cover, and it went boom. So I was very honored and privileged to be able to do that. And since then, it's been kind of crazy. I didn't think about the fans. I didn't think about, what am I going to do for marketing for this, that, and the other, and all that. I was just ecstatic that I had done it. That after all of that, it was out there, good or bad. No matter what I could say, I had done it. And then I started getting these emails and comments from fans and readers, and saying, we love the recipes, we love the home family feel of it. Even though it's a sexy romance book, they always go back to their parents, and they sit down for a Sunday dinner. And the editor had talked to me about putting in a little recipe at the end of it, because I had. She said, that's a cute little idea for the small town romance. So I did, and then they asked for more. The readers asked, well, what is Mama Jenny cooking in Leather and Lace, and could you send me that recipe or whatever? So I promised that I would do a cookbook, because Mama Jenny talks about doing a cookbook in the first book in Whistling Dixie, and gathering up old recipes to sell at the general store at their little orchard farm. And the proceeds were going to go to help rebuild the town. So that was some of the little things that were actually happening in Grafton, or that had happened in Grafton at the time. Bake sales and all sorts of little things to just gather up some money to try and get funding to keep those old buildings built of limestone and everything there, and not have to demolish them. Try to find ways. So it's bigger. Grafton itself is bigger and better than ever, and you'll find all sorts of places. If you go there, you'll find all sorts of things that are in the books. I tried to keep it that you could picture the actual town in your mind, and a lot of the things are still there that I write about in the book. So that's kind of how I did it.
When you made up your mind to put it out there, and I understand that feeling, because I started my first book back in the 90s, and I finally was able to publish it like you in 2007. And that feeling of putting something out there, and good, bad, or indifferent, it's such a feeling of accomplishment. Yes,
it really is. And, everybody says, well, does it ever go away? You've got so many books under your belt, and I'm like, no, not at all. I mean, I just put out the cookbook, and all I could think of was, how weird is this that I'm a romance writer, and I even write erotica, and I'm putting out a down-home cookbook. But I understand what the fans were saying. They were so connected to the characters and everything. How could I not? Give them what they wanted in that regard? And it was fun. I had a couple of author friends with me who did it, who contributed some things, and it was just a really, fun little thing. And I added some short stories about the boys growing up. So it's all done in the mama's voice and everything. And I had a good time with it. And it's not my usual style at all, but I enjoyed it. So, and come what may, I don't know whether it will do well or not. It was just released. So I'm still hoping that, I did something a little different with it, in that because it was so close to Christmas, I put a little form on my website, or I'm sorry, on my Facebook and my website, that you can get a signed copy from me, because I had to actually, I wanted it spiral bound, and I wanted it to look like the old church, cookbooks that they had. And Amazon doesn't do that. So I had to find another printing company that would do that for me. So I did. Well, then that means that, I had to buy them all first and then go out that way. So I thought, well, if I've got to buy them anyway, why don't I just sign them? So so if they want to, I just put up a little Google form that people can fill out. It's on my Facebook page, that if they'd like one for a Christmas present or something like that, fill out the little form, and I'll send you a little invoice through PayPal, and you can have a signed Maggie Adams cookbook for your mom or your dad or whoever cooks in your life, And it was just something fun to do. So, but I don't know. My daughter says I should do a lot more, and I'm like, I think I need to go back to writing romance for a little bit.
Yeah, let's don't be doing more cookbooks now. You got to do romance with an erotic edge to it.
I do. I really kind of do, and it's funny because I ran a daycare, and people are like, well, why won't you do children's books? And now you have so much you can glean from all of that and everything. And I'm like, but I want to do something adult.
I deal with children all day. I don't want to be doing with children in my dreams. No, thank you.
Exactly. I mean, now I have a granddaughter now, and her big kick is Disney Sophia. So I've got Sophia the First running through my head all the time, because she loves that show, and she'll hum it and sing it, and but I needed something that was adult, and that was me, because when you run a daycare in your home, it's for me it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Mhm.
And so
and I try writing children's books, but I don't think on that level. I don't think I ever did.
Well, I'm pretty immature, so I may.
Hey, there ain't nothing immature about you. I'm going to tell you. Nope.
I do get up to some shenanigans, I will say.
You and Taylor Dalton. I'm going to tell you. You and Taylor. Mm-hmm.
Well, my husband likes to laughingly say I'm a walking, talking I Love Lucy sitcom, and it's probably true.
Now, lady, I'm going to tell you, this woman is absolutely magnificent. The first time that I met her, we had communicated on Facebook before the event, and I wasn't sure I was going to get to go because of my husband and a lot of other factors. But I wound up able to go. So I put it out there that I was going to get to go. Well, between Maggie and Taylor and Julie Morgan and Sherry Rensler, I was mobbed when I got there. Lord,
gosh, I was so happy to see you.
I was happy. It was so much fun.
It really was. It was, it was really a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do it again. I love those book signings and those kinds of events that you feel like you're just coming home. You're coming home to see all your friends and your family and the people that love you, and you don't have to pretend. Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm not any good at that. Me either. Yeah, people either take me as I am or they don't take me, and if they don't take me, well, it's their loss. That's right. That's it exactly. And it's different when you're out there, because a lot of people, I have a very outgoing personality. I think because of with my childhood being so crazy, I tried not to draw attention to myself. And then when all that was over, and it was almost like I don't know what sound poetic, it's like the flower blooming, but I found myself. I found my real personality, and boy, is it nothing like I was growing up. The real you emerged. It was like a butterfly out of her cocoon. Yeah, it was so very different. And, when I had seen some friends that I hadn't seen in years through high school, and they're like, you are so different, and you write this stuff. Maggie, we would have never thought. But see, that brings me to a point that I had written down, that moments in our life, things that happen to us, they're defining moments, but they don't have to define us. Exactly. That's it exactly. I knew when I was very, very, I don't want to say organized, but I knew exactly what I wanted any child that I brought into the world to be and to have and all that. I'm not talking about their personalities that I was, overly, I wasn't overly strict or anything. As a matter of fact, my daughter laughingly says that she was the only adult in our family. The only adult in the room. But I knew that there were things that from my childhood that I wanted to make sure were not a part of hers and not a part of my son's. And so I was very careful to give them experiences that would enrich them, and so that they could have that opportunity to reach their full potential through education and a variety of not just school education, but education in going places and doing things, even if it was something as simple as going to the library. You know, and I was always honest with them about all of that. You know, I was always very honest with them about my life and growing up and everything, and they knew what a library meant to me. They knew what books meant to me, and I fostered that love of reading from both of them. Although I will say my son has never read any of my books.
Boy, he's missing a lot. He could get a few pointers, Mom.
Well, it's kind of funny that you say that because he hasn't read them, but his wife, who she's now his wife, has, his girlfriend at the time, and we went to one of his friends got married, and we were there at the reception, and I had all these college boys coming up going, Ms. Adams, would you mind, it was either, could I be one of your cover models? I'm like, oh no, honey, take your shirt off.
That is too funny.
And, you know, or I'd get Ross said if I had any kind of a sexual question that it would be okay if I asked you, and I'm like, what? So yeah, apparently I was the little celebrity, the sex talk celebrity. I felt like Dr. Ruth. You know?
Well, but the thing about it, they were comfortable enough to ask you if they could ask you the question.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And
well, you know.
They knew you would be honest with them.
Sure. But of course, you know, they had to have a little, a little liquid inner of whatever, you know, a little bit of liquid courage there to do so. It was just really funny, you know, that they would do that. Now, my daughter, she is one of my beta readers and proofreaders because she's very organized in that way, and she can do a line by line and all that, where I can't. I am horrible at editing anybody. You know, even if I do proofread other authors or whatever, they ask me to read their work, I get involved in the story. So I guess I would be more like a content editor. If I see something that seems like a hole in it, like I don't understand where it went from here to here, I can pick that out. But just line by line trying to find grammar and all of that stuff, nope, I get too involved in the story. I just don't. I pass it. It just goes right past me.
She's more analytical.
Yes. Oh, she's very logical. She laughingly says too that I am too old to be this naive, and I said, you are too young to be that critical.
And that brings me all the way back around to we are the brand. What we sell is not the brand. And this is where people sometimes get confused. Oh, your books, that's your brand. No, our books are our product. We are the brand, and you have a unique brand, and I absolutely love it.
Well, thank you. So do you. I guess that's why we hit it off so well, is because we both know that we are unique.
We are unique. And ladies and gentlemen, if you see anything with hot lips on it, that's Maggie's brand.
It is. Oh, I had to laugh because I went to a book event called PennCon. It's here. It's in St. Louis, Missouri, and it's the biggest one in the area. And I think this year there was like 178 authors.
Oh my Lord!
And it was huge. It had 2 huge ballrooms. It was just huge, and it was lovely. But again, it didn't have that I'm home, everybody happy. You know, it was more of a professional. And you know, just not. It was very nice, but it didn't have that push. You know,
it was a hoity-toity. I'm in my world. Don't bother me.
A little bit.
Oh, you know what I would have had to have done, don't you? You know me.
Well, I just walked around and passed out my Hot Lips business card and said hi.
How y'all doing? That's your mama and them.
But, you know, they were all very, very nice and everything. But I had to laugh because one of the ladies, she's a friend of mine, but she was, they were looking for me, and I could hear them in the next row. And I thought, oh, there she is, and I'm putting stuff up the day before. And she comes around and I hear her say, now, she's this little woman, but she's got this wild, bright red hair, and you can't miss her. Her banner has these giant pink lips on it. and I turned around and I said, Jasmine, I'm here. and I said, big wild red hair, huh? And she's like, well, you got to admit, hon, your lips. I know. I said, and I fashioned those lips either from my own, that are on that banner. And I said, but I'm not for sure whether I put the lips on there because I have those kinds of lips or because I have a big mouth and it's always going.
But see, nobody else in the entire 2 ballrooms had that banner, that brand.
Oh, no.
It's unique to you.
It is, and it was, and it was the only 8 foot tall one too.
See,
everybody was about 6 foot tall, and I'm like, that's all me. Go bigger, go home, darling.
Exactly. If you're not gonna go big, why are you wasting my time?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Don't run with the herd. Run ahead of the herd.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. You got to, and that was one of the. The things that I thought of with all of my heroines. It's like these women are strong women. Tempered Steel isn't about the men, even though, they're pretty hot.
Yeah, well.
But it's about the women. They're the ones that lifted those men to the next level and helped them accomplish the stuff that they needed to get done. They were their strength.
And that, my dear, is where women in today's upside-down world have screwed up because they have forgotten they are the glue that holds it together. They are the backbone of these men. They are the ones that lift them up higher. They don't have to be naked feminists standing on a street corner protesting because they want to be like men. They're already stronger than men.
Mhm. I absolutely agree. I think it's a shame what we have lost because I think everybody seems to be in sort of a cloud, in sort of a fog, I guess, because men don't know whether to open a door. Men don't know whether.
Right.
And then you've got this next generation of men that are raised up, and they're really unsure as to how to treat a woman because now everything is politically correct. Everything can be taken the wrong way. How can you say you look nice today if you think you're going to be? It's a tone of sexual harassment, and goodness knows with everything going on, that's not what I'm talking about in that regard.
Exactly.
But you just don't know. And that was what I told my son. I said, then you do what you know in your heart is right. If,
women,
I tell him.
Women have emotionally and mentally castrated men.
Oh, my gosh, yes. They have. And yet they yearn, and I absolutely know this because it's my book sales.
Mm-hmm.
They yearn for that man, a real man. And yet, I was like, well,
and they need to be real women.
Yeah, then you cut them off at the knees. Oh, and I just feel, when I go to these book events and everything, I try. Well, you saw me there. I'm just flamboyant as can be, but I try to do. I don't wear, sweats and tennis shoes and sweatshirts and just don't care and all that. And that's fine if you're not one of those. If you're not that kind of a girly girl. But I'm a girly girl, and I like being a girly girl, and I think it has absolutely nothing to do with how smart I am or how capable I am, whether or not I want to wear a dress or whether or not I want to wear heels. Because as Ginger Rogers said, she did everything that Fred Astaire did, and she did it backwards and in heels.
And in heels.
And that's the way I look at it. I like to look pretty. I like to look and have all of these nice things. But it seems like it's been kind of frowned upon and looked down upon if you do. You know?
Well, you know what? You and I are just going to keep doing it because I'm like you. I like my boots. I like my heeled boots. I like being dressed, and I like being complimented. I like the door being opened for me. I like being told I
do too.
I like for men to be men. I don't want the men around me to be women. If I wanted that, I'd be around women.
Exactly. You know. And I think it's kind of sad. I am absolutely not talking about, you know, business and the glass ceiling or any of that kind of stuff. I think you can do all of that.
Oh, absolutely.
You can push boundaries. You can argue with the best of them. You can just, you know, eviscerate them in print. And you don't.
And if you are in the workplace, if you're a woman in the workplace, and you're behind a closed door in a meeting with your boss who happens to be a male, and y'all have a disagreement, when you leave that room, leave that disagreement in that room.
Absolutely.
Don't be carrying no grudges and revenge and I'm going to get him. And now that's because if you want to work in a man's world, I'm sorry, ladies, that's just the way it is. If you're going to work in a man's world, then you've got to think like a man in that respect. You have the fight, you have the argument, you have the disagreement, shake hands, go back to your desk and go have a beer later or something. You don't do what some of these women are doing.
Exactly. I don't understand. It's just so many of them. Of women have lost that. I don't think it detracts anything from a woman to want to look and appeal, you know, be attractive and feel good about it. It's just like, you know, when you're putting on, you know, you put on your bra and your panties and they match and it gives you that extra little glow. Well, it does for me anyway. But, you know, it just feels like, ooh, I feel pretty. Okay. You know,
and I know I feel pretty from the inside out. So you might not know it, but I know it.
That's right. Nobody else has to know but you. It gives you that extra little spark of confidence. And if you're got that bra and panty on, you're pulling on a jumpsuit because you're a trash person, and you're taking out the trash and you're picking up all the, you know, everybody's other stuff, and it does not matter.
No.
Because when all that comes off and everything, if you want to be a girly girl, you're a girly girl. I don't care. It shouldn't, you know, it's like they, in order to push up one segment of the population, they feel they have to bring down another.
And you don't.
You don't. There's room for everybody, you know, and now they want everybody to be, you know, oh, well, we have to love everybody. We have to do this. We have to do that. I'm like, great. And there's no more bullying. You shouldn't bully. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. And I'm like, well, you say that on one hand, but then in the next breath, you're talking about how you hate this person.
Exactly.
So,
you can't have it, but you can't have it both ways. You
really can't.
You got to be one way of the coin or the other. I mean, a two-headed coin is only worth something to flip at a football game. That's all it's worth.
There you go.
Come on, people.
Well, that
but
is
yet,
so very...
but and women are, present company of course excluded, but women in general are hypocrites.
I do think so. Yes, they want it. They want it all, and then when you give that to them, well, it's either not good enough or they've decided they want something different. They can't, you know. I think that's a product of society. It's more of a learned behavior, I think, because I was raised, like I said, it wasn't easy, but I had my grandma, you know, and she was Southern Belle.
And she raised you old school Southern Belle.
And she did. It was yes, ma'am, and no, sir, and I still to this day. And the things that she taught me, I knew were right. You just knew in your heart. And I've never, you know, people say, oh, well, you're too nice. You're too nice. You're just, I've never felt that I was too nice. I've never felt that there's any reason not to be nice.
See, I'm
so
nice until it's time not to be nice, and I can tell someone how to go to hell, and before I'm done, they're asking for directions and shaking my hand, but I never tell them go to hell. I mean, but they're shredded when they're on their way. But
I am learning. I have thickened that skin. My soft, supple skin is getting thickened by what's going on in drama and stuff that happens in the book world. Because I was pretty isolated. I mean, you run an in-home daycare in a small town.
Yeah, really, and everybody knows everybody. But I think we need to go back to men being men and women being women, and that doesn't take anything from either sex. It's complementary.
Yes, I absolutely agree. When they have with all of my stories, like I said, the women are strong, and the men aren't. They don't feel emasculated because of their strength, because of the women's strength. They feel uplifted and supported and helped. And they say, oh, well, real men don't need help. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Real men know when they need help. And a real man is confident enough to ask for it.
And not only that, but they understand that woman is not trying to overrun them, but she is trying to encourage him. Because, ladies and gentlemen, whether you know it or not, now, I hope you're all sitting down for this, and Maggie will back me up on this. Men have very fragile egos.
Oh, my, yes.
Every man I know has a very fragile ego, but they cover it up.
Oh, sure. There's a little boy inside every tough guy.
Yep.
Absolutely. And it's like, I laughingly say I have a little blog every once in a while on my Facebook page that I'll have Adventures of Attractive Over 40 Man because that name was given to my husband when my daughter was in dance class. He came, she had dance class, and then the moms would get together right after, and we would learn some little dance moves and things like that, just to be silly. And the ballet teacher insisted that she was going to teach us, that we had to at least perform at the recital. So,
oh Lord,
but it was just it was just all in fun. But yes, I was a devil in a blue dress. So.
Perfect for you, just perfect.
Just perfect. But he came in one day, and they were like, "That's your husband?" I said, "Yeah." Well, good God, Maggie, you didn't tell us he was good looking. She's like, "We have regular husbands. He's an attractive man." And I'm like, "I know." I'm thinking, what am I, chopped liver here, lady? I'm a little sweaty from working out with this dancing, but come on. So now we laughingly would call him Attractive Over 40 Man. So.
Oh, that is too funny. Oh, my Lord. So okay.
We have these little adventures. Yes.
We're fixing to run out of room. We're fixing to run out of time. Jeez, I can't even talk anymore. Lord help me. Got me all hot and bothered. Anywho, before we run out of room and time, I want you to come back.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to chat again.
You want to come back in May?
Oh, sure. By May, I should have the paranormal out. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. All right, May.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll send you a date. And before things get crazy, don't hang up when the show goes offline, because I got a couple of things to tell you.
Okay.
But tell the folks where you can be found, the name of your books again, where they can be found, and what's coming out.
Okay. Well, you can find me at MaggieAdamsBooks.com. I have my own little website. And you can also find me on Facebook, Maggie Adams Books. I'm on Twitter, author Maggie Adams, and I'm on Instagram. I mean, I'm just about everywhere. I'm even on Tumblr. I'm Adventures of an Erotic Romance Author.
I'm on Tumblr too. You need to hook up with me on this.
Yes, and then we have now. It's kind of racy, but now, and I am on Pinterest. I mean, I'm just all over the place. I am on BookBob, everywhere. You can just find me just about anywhere. All my books are on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can find them on iBooks, Google Plus, Google Play. Well, just about anywhere. You hook in Maggie Adams, and you'll be able to find it. If it's book related, you'll be able to find it. But it's the Tempered Steel series, and actually, if you would like to get involved in that just a little bit, and my very first book, Lustful Dixie, that started it all, is actually free on e-reader if you go to Amazon and just about any of the other sites. Because I wanted to introduce everybody to the people of Grafton. And then
no, ladies and gentlemen, you can't go now. You got to wait till the show's over. So just sit tight for a minute.
That's right.
These people.
You got to wait, because I do wish that I could at least show you what my ending is on one of my takeovers, because it's this old classic VW Beetlebug, and it's kind of a fleshy pink colored, like a little pink bottom, and it's got a lace thong on the back of it.
I've seen that. It's hysterical.
And I said, oh, I saw that picture. I'm like, oh, that is me.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, she's coming back. And what will happen? You will become a regular on the show, and you'll get a following on the show as well.
Oh, that would be just wonderful, because, the more people that want to stalk me, they sure can, because obviously I love to chat. Whether
and she's
it's just on the phone or typing away.
And she is going to be with me in Cocoa Beach the weekend of June 3rd at the International Palms Hotel at the Space Coast Lovers book event. So if you're in Cocoa Beach or in Melbourne or around in that area, come see us, because we'll be having all kinds of events going on. But the book sale on that. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'll have fun. Now, tomorrow night, ladies, she'll be there with her lips. Tomorrow night, book YouTuber Elizabeth Heeb will be with us. That should be fun. And then Saturday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, country singer Daniel Paul Band will be with us, and I do have some of his music. And then next week we got a whole new lineup, but I want everybody to put this on their calendars. December the 11th, which is a Monday night. This is a special show at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Maggie, you want to put this on your calendar. At 9 o'clock on December the 11th at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, best-selling author James Swain will be my guest.
Wow, that is fabulous.
Isn't that fabulous?
Absolutely.
So, ladies and gentlemen, put that on your calendar so that you can listen to James Swain. He's one of my all-time favorite authors. And if you want to advertise on the show, you aren't really comfortable coming on the show, I get that. But if you want your work out there, I mean, ladies and gentlemen, we're almost 100,000 listeners. Who wouldn't want to get their brand out there? Go to advertisecast.com and look up Off the Chain. That is my site. All of my prices are so reasonable, you're going to think you stole it. Advertise on this show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you, 70 countries, almost 100,000 listeners. You get, for an entire month, I will do your advertisement for you. And I do an average of 4 shows a week. That's 16 shows a month. You can't get that kind of advertising for under $1,000. I'm only charging at most $100.
Wow.
So
that's fabulous.
Yes, and it can be an audio. You can send it to me and I'll read it. But you will get your money's worth. Trust me, you will get your money's worth. So go to advertisecast.com and in the search engine look up Off the Chain and look at my pricing. You won't regret it. So There are a few things I say at the end of the show. I know Maggie's heard them. The difference between who you are today and who you want to be tomorrow, that's what you do today. So if you want to change the person that you're going to be tomorrow, then you need to get busy changing what you do to change that. And if you want to achieve greatness, ladies and gentlemen, do not ask permission, because Maggie and I both will tell you they ain't going to give it to you.
Nope.
You just got to go out and grab it, right, Maggie?
That's absolutely right. It is better to ask forgiveness than permission.
Absolutely, and just go grab it. Your smile is your logo. Your personality is your business card, and how you leave others feeling after having had that experience with you. Ladies and gentlemen, that is your trademark.
Absolutely. I hope they had a good time tonight.
I'm sure they did. So this is Maggie Adams and me saying good night. So now we are off the air, but all of this will go up into the archive show. But what I wanted to tell you is this show goes up on podcast.com, Podcast Garden, Mixcloud, SoundCloud, and Spreaker. I will put them up on those 5 podcasts tomorrow, and then I'll put the link up and tag you in the link.
Oh, perfect.
My gift to you is to take this show, which as soon as we get off the air, it will archive up. When it archives, I will also put the link on my page, and I'll tag you in it. And I will hashtag like I always do. But I want you to take all of this and use it.
Oh, you are so sweet. Thank you.
Honey, it gets better than that. This show automatically goes up on iTunes, FM.com, TuneIn Radio, and my YouTube channel.
Oh, wow. That is amazing, Yvonne. I do not know how you manage to do all that stuff. I am still floundering around. Oh my goodness. That you are just a wonder. And that is the way to go. YouTube and all that big stuff's coming up with that.
So
I think people are
what I will do is I will also dig up those links and send them to you. And if you, once this thing goes up and you Google Off the Chain Maggie Adams, you're going to see it in places that I don't even know how it gets there.
Wow. That's awesome.
Other people have taken this show and put it either on their sites or on other podcasts, but this show is everywhere.
That is just amazing. I am just so eternally grateful to you, sweetheart. I just can't even express how wonderful it was to meet you.
So when you start getting sales from Japan and Sudan and Egypt and South America, Portugal, Spain, Greece, Italy, that's just the ones that I can remember. New Zealand.
That's amazing.
That's because of this show.
That is just amazing. Oh, my gosh.
So, yes, ma'am, you are now a regular on the show, and I will be sending you some dates. And
well, you do it because I had such a good time.
It was a hoot, wasn't it?
It was. It really was. And I love talking to like-minded people because goodness knows it's hard for me to find a like-minded person.
Well, even when I have people on the show that disagree with me, we still have fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But, gosh, it was good to be talking about how to be a girl.
Yeah. I like being female. I like being a female.
I do, too. And and some people say, well, I don't like a man looking at me that way. And I don't like that. And I'm just like, well, I don't understand that.
I don't either. I mean, when you get 66 years old, and even the young ones look at you, you're going, yes, you still got it, bitch.
That's right. That's right. I think I don't understand. I don't understand how you.
I don't mind being a sex object. Please,
that's right.
Put me on that pedestal.
Absolutely.
I love it. Take a picture. I'll pose.
We will too, and but you know what? I think it is more than even what we look like or whatever. That may give you the glance, you know.
Right.
But it's the attitude.
And honey, you and I both got attitude. We got attitude.
It is that, you know, that whole aura of just being confident and being a go-getter and knowing what you are.
Yep.
You know, knowing, you know, and it's not really teachable. But
no.
It can be learned, you know.
And the thing is, a lot of these women, sadly, who are doing the things they're doing now to get that attention, they don't have that confidence. That
no.
I am comfortable with who I am. It's taken me a long time to get there, but I am comfortable with who I am, and I am very successful in what I do.
Right.
So I'm flaunting the hell out of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what, you know, they say, oh, well, you shouldn't toot your own horn. You just, bull. Who's going to toot
watch
me? I toot my horn and jingle my bells. I'm good.
Exactly. And I love doing it. Because if you wait for somebody else to do it, that's like asking permission for greatness.
Absolutely. I totally agree. You know, given what I know now, if I would have really done this 10 years ago, you know, really gotten into it as the internet was going up, I really have no doubt. But I held myself back because I didn't have that confidence. It took me a while. Every step I had, every journey I made in my life has led me up to this.
Absolutely.
And it just wasn't the right time. I still needed to learn some things. Before I had kids, you wouldn't hear a peep out of me. And for a long time, if it wasn't me, if it affected me, I didn't say. But if it affected my kids, oh boy, I was right there. And I got to the point where if you can do that for others, you can do that for your children. You should do that for yourself too. You know,
wind us up and watch us go.
That's right. Absolutely, absolutely. But well, I guess I better get off of here because I'm packing. I'm heading to Branson, Missouri.
Well, be careful, and I will send you a date and get you hooked up for May, and watch for the link to go up, and then I want you to take it and promote it everywhere. And then tomorrow I'll put the other 5 links up.
I will. Did you know that there was another podcast that Hanging with the Web folks that were down there at Space Coast?
Yeah.
They had yours up there today.
Yeah, we have an agreement.
Oh, cool.
We cross-promote. He's been on my show several times.
He's a funny guy. And Sage called me a couple of I guess it was a couple of months ago because they were doing a promotional thing or something, and I agreed to do it, you know, with them. And then we got to talking about PennCon up here, and I said, you guys need to come up here. This would be awesome for the authors out here because there's a lot of them. You know, like I said, we had like over, I think it was 178, and we did over 1,000 people came through those doors.
See?
I mean, it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. It was packed the whole time. At one point, I was 8 deep in people.
Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But oh goodness, I got to get my packing done.
All right, go get your packing done, darling, and I'll get you set up for May. And thank you for spending an hour.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart. And I will talk to you soon. I loved it. All right,
darling.
Happy holiday. All right.
You too.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
Hardship. My grandmother would go through it every month to pay her insurance bill. First, she would handwrite a paper check, in cursive. Then, using her own tongue, she would wet a stamp for an envelope. Today, however, we need not weary our hands and tongues. Today, we can pay our Geico bill with the Geico app. Away with hardship, in with bill pay on the Geico app. Thank you.
Is that the new iPhone?
Yeah, got it on T-Mobile. Fastest iPhone deserves America's fastest LTE network. Introducing the amazing iPhone 8. It's the best iPhone yet, now on America's best unlimited network. For a limited time, save up to $300 on the amazing iPhone 8 after 24 monthly bill credits. And now join T-Mobile's iPhone upgrade program for free.
Eligible trade-in and finance agreement required. If you cancel service, you may lose promo credits. Contact us for details. Video at 480p. Small fraction of users over 50 gigs per month may have reduced speed. See store for details.